Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Bhakapa Giri Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Gopi Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasoda Nandana Gopi Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Gopi Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'd like to do 3 separate episodes from the Srimad Bhagavatam glorifying Lord Balaram, whose appearance day is tomorrow. I always begin my speaking engagements by chanting my 2 favorite mantras. Trinadapi Sunichena Turariva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya sada Hari. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Klo nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gatir anyata. And I'd like to specifically dedicate this class to the two children of Paramrupa Partha Biswas, my longtime friend. May Krishna bless him, his wife, and his two beautiful children. So this first reading is from the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Krishna Instructs Yoga Maya. To protect the Yadus, his personal devotees, from the attack of Kamsa, the personality of Godhead, Vishva Atma, the supreme soul of everyone, ordered Yoga Maya as follows. O my potency, you are worshipable for the entire world, and your nature is to bestow good fortune upon all living entities. I order you to go to Braja, and there lives many cowherd men and their wives. In that very beautiful land, where many cows reside, Rohini, the wife of Vasudeva, is living at the home of Nanda Maharaj. And other wives of Vasudeva are also living there incognito out of fear of Kamsa. So please go there, for within the womb of Devaki is my partial plenary expansion known as Sankarshana or Shesha. And without difficulty, transfer him into the womb of Rohini. O all auspicious Yoga Maya, I shall then appear with my full 6 opulences as the son of Devaki, and you will appear as the daughter of Mother Yashoda, the queen of Maharaj Nanda. This son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarshana because of being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. And he will be called Rama because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Gokula. And he will be known as Balabhadra because of his extensive physical strength. And thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yoga Maya immediately agreed with the Vedic mantra, Om. She confirmed that she would do what he had asked. Thus, having accepted the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yoga Maya circumambulated Krishna and then started for the place on earth known as Nanda Gokula. And there, Yoga Maya did everything just as she had been told. And when the child of Devaki was attracted and transferred into the womb of Rohini by Yoga Maya, Devaki seemed to have a miscarriage. Thus, all the inhabitants of the palace loudly lamented, Alas, Devaki has lost her child. So because of this episode, Balaram can be known as Devaki Nandan, and he can be known as Rohini Nandan. Both names are applicable because originally Balaram was in the womb of Devaki, and as we just heard, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini. Now, the next excerpt is called Krishna Glorifies Baladeva. When Lord Ram and Lord Krishna attained the age of Palganda, which is 6 to 10 years, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherder men allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Thus, desiring to enjoy pastimes, Lord Madhava, the husband of the goddess of fortune, sounding his transcendental flute, and surrounded by cowherder boys who were chanting his glories, and being accompanied by Lord Baladeva, they kept the cows before Krishna and entered the Vrindavan forest. Vrindavan forest was full of flowers and rich with nourishment for the animals. The Supreme Personality of Godhead looked over that forest of Vrindavan, which was resounding with the charming sounds of bees, animals, and birds, and which was enhanced by a lake whose clear water resembled the minds of great souls, and also by a breeze carrying the fragrance of 100-petaled lotuses. And seeing all this, Lord Krishna decided to enjoy the auspicious atmosphere. The primeval Lord saw that the stately trees, with their beautiful reddish buds and their heavy burden of fruits and flowers, were bending down to touch his feet with the tips of their branches. Thus Krishna smiled gently and addressed his elder brother. O greatest of lords, just see how these trees are bowing their heads at your lotus feet. Your lotus feet are worshipable by all the immortal demigods. The trees are offering you their fruits and flowers just to eradicate the darkness of ignorance which has caused their birth as trees. O original personality, these bees must all be great sages and most elevated devotees of yours, for they are worshiping you by following you along the path, and they are chanting your glories, which are themselves a holy place for the entire world. And although you have disguised yourself within this forest, O sinless one, they refuse to abandon you, for you are their worshipable Lord. O most worshipable one, these peacocks are dancing before you out of joy, and these doe are pleasing you with affectionate glances. And they do this just as the gopis do. And here these cuckoos are honoring you with Vedic prayers. All the residents of the forest are most fortunate, and their behavior toward you certainly befits great souls receiving another great soul at home. This planet Earth has now become most fortunate because you have touched her grass and bushes with your feet and her trees and creepers with your fingernails, and because you have graced her rivers, mountains, birds, and animals with your merciful glances. But above all, you have embraced the young cowherder women between your two arms, a favor hankered after even by the goddess of fortune herself. Shukadeva Goswami now says, when Krishna's elder brother Balaram was fatigued from playing, he would lie down with his head upon the lap of a cowherder boy, and Lord Krishna would help Balaram, relaxing him by personally massaging his feet and offering other services. For my next excerpt, I will go to one of my personal favorite sections of the Bhagavatam, And this is the episode where Lord Balaram punishes the river Yamuna. Shukadeva Goswami then said, O best of the Kurus, once Lord Balaram, eager to visit his well-wishing friends, mounted his chariot and traveled to Nanda Gokula. Having long suffered the anxiety of separation, the cowherder men and their wives embraced Lord Balaram. The Lord then offered respects to his parents, and they joyfully greeted Balaram with prayers. O descendant of Darshara, O Lord of the universe, may you and your younger brother Krishna ever protect us. And saying this, they raised Sri Balaram onto their laps, embraced him, and moistened him with tears from their eyes. Lord Balaram then paid proper respects to the elderly cowherder men, and the younger ones all greeted Balaram respectfully. Balaram met them all with smiles, handshakes, and so on, dealing personally with each one according to their age, degree of friendship, and family relationship. And then, after resting, Balaram accepted a comfortable seat, and they all gathered around him. With voices faltering out of love for him, those cowherders who had dedicated everything to the lotus-eyed Krishna asked about the health and dear ones in Dwaraka. And Balaram in turn asked about the cowherders' welfare. O Ram, are all our relatives doing well? And Ram, do all of you with your wives and children still remember us? Indeed, it is our great fortune that sinful Kamsa has been killed and our dear relatives are now freed. And it is also our good fortune that our relatives have killed and defeated all their enemies and have found complete security in the great fortress known as Dwaraka. Honored to have the special audience of Lord Balaram, the young gopi smiled and also asked him, Dear Balaram, is Krishna, the darling of the city women, is he living happily in Dwaraka? Does Krishna remember his family members? And especially, does he remember his father and mother? Do you think Krishna will ever come back even once to see his mother? And does mighty armed Krishna remember the service we always did for him? O descendant of Dashara, for Krishna's sake alone, we gopis abandoned our mothers, fathers, brothers, husband, children, and sisters, even though these family relations are difficult to give up. But now, O Lord, that same Krishna seemingly has suddenly abandoned us and gone away, breaking off all affectionate ties with us. And yet, how could any woman fail to trust Krishna's promises? How can intelligent city women possibly trust the words of Krishna, whose heart is so unsteady, and Krishna, who is so ungrateful? Oh, they must believe him, because Krishna speaks so wonderful, and also because Krishna's beautiful smiling glances arouse their lust. But why should we bother talking about Krishna, dear gopis? Let us talk of something else. For if Krishna can pass his time without us, then we shall certainly pass our time without him. And while speaking these words, the young cowherder women remembered Lord Krishna's laughter, his pleasing conversations with them, his attractive glances, his style of walking, and his loving embraces. And as a result, they began to cry. The Supreme Lord Balaram, the attractor of all, being expert at various kinds of conciliation, consoled the gopis by relaying to them the confidential messages Lord Krishna has sent with him. And those messages deeply touched the gopis' hearts. Consequently, Lord Balaram, the personality of Godhead, resided there in Vrindavan for the 2 months of Madhu and Madhava. And during the nights, Balaram gave his cowherder girlfriends conjugal pleasure. Prabhupada comments that the gopis that Balaram danced with are not the same gopis that Krishna danced with. Krishna has his set of gopis, and Balaram has a separate set of gopis who he dances also with. In the company of numerous women, Lord Balaram enjoyed in a garden by the river Yamuna. This garden was bathed in the rays of the full moon and was caressed by breezes bearing the fragrance of night-blooming lotus flowers. Sent by the demigod Varuna, the divine Varuni liquor flowed from the hollows of trees and made the entire forest even more fragrant with its sweet aroma. The wind carried to Lord Balaram the fragrance of that flood of sweet liquor. And when Balaram smelled it, he thus went to that tree. And there, Balaram and his female companions drank that divine Varuni beverage. As the Gandharvas sang his glories, Lord Balaram enjoyed within the brilliant circle of young women. Balaram appeared just like Indra's elephant, the lordly Airavata, enjoying in the company of many she-elephants. At that time, kettle drums resounded in the sky. The Gandharvas joyfully rained down flowers, and the great sages praised Lord Balaram's heroic deeds. As his deeds were sung, Lord Halayuda wandered as if inebriated among the various forests with his girlfriends. His eyes rolled from the effects of the transcendental liquor. Being intoxicated with joy, Lord Balaram sported flower garlands, including the famous Vaijayanti. Balaram wore a single earring, and beads of perspiration decorated his smiling lotus face, and it appeared like snowflakes. Balaram then summoned the river Yamuna so that he could play in her waters. But Yamuna disregarded his command, thinking that Balaram was drunk. This only angered Balaram, and so he began to drag the river with the tip of his plow. "O sinful one, disrespecting me, you do not come when I call you, but rather you move only by your own whims?" Therefore, with the tip of my plow, I shall bring you here in hundreds of streams. Thus, scolded by Balaram, the frightened river goddess Yamuna came and fell at the feet of Sri Balaram, who is the beloved descendant of the Yadu dynasty. And trembling, Yamuna spoke to Balaram, Rama Rama Mahabaho Najane Tava Vikramam Yasyai Kangshena Vidrita Jagati Jagatapate. O Ram, O Ram, O mighty armed one, indeed, I did not understand anything regarding your unlimited prowess. For with a single portion of yourself, you indeed hold up this earth, O Lord of the universe. Parang Bhagavang Bhagavato Bhagavan Mam Ajaniting Muktum Arahasi Vishvatman Prapanang Bhakta Vatsalaha. My Lord, please release me. You are the soul of the universe. For I did not understand your actual position as the Supreme Godhead. But now I am surrendering unto you, as you are always kind to your surrendered devotees. Thereupon, Lord Balaram released the Yamuna River, and like the king of elephants, with his entourage of she-elephants, Balaram entered the waters of the Yamuna along with his female companion gopis. And Balaram played in the water to his full satisfaction. And when Balaram came out, Goddess Kanti presented Balaram with blue garments, precious ornaments, and a brilliant necklace. Lord Balaram then dressed himself in those blue garments, put on a golden necklace, and was anointed with fragrances, and was beautifully adorned. And so, Balaram appeared as resplendent as Indra's royal elephant, Airavata. O King Parikshit, even today, one can see how the Yamuna flows through many channels created when it was dragged by the unlimitedly powerful Lord Balaram. Thus, Yamuna demonstrates the prowess of Sri Balaram. And so, for Lord Balaram, all those nights passed like a single night as he enjoyed in Vraja, his mind enchanted by the exquisite charm and beauty of Vraja's young ladies. Vahasi vapushi deshade vasanang jaladabang Halahati viti milita yamunabam Vahasi vapushi deshade vasanang jaladabam Halahati viti milita yamunabam Keshavadrita Haladara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Haladara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Paladara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Sankarshana Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Baladeva Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadish Jaya Jagadisha Hare. O Lord Hari, Vahasi Vapushi Vishade, on your brilliant white body, Vasanam Jaladabam, you wear garments the color of a fresh blue rain cloud. Halahati, and due to the striking of your plowshare, Bhiti Milita Yamuna Bam. It so happened that the personified river Yamuna appeared at that time, for she was feeling immense fear. Keshavadrita Haladhara Rupa. O Keshava of fine hair, you have accepted the form of Lord Balaram. You are the wielder of the plow. Jaya Jagadisha Hare. All glories unto you, O Lord of the universe. So I have time for one final reading, and this is a summary of the incarnation of Balaram that Srila Prabhupada composed in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. May Lord Balaram bless all you devotees, and may you all achieve love of God. Prabhupada writes, Baladev is the divine son of Vasudev by his wife Rohini. Baladev is known as Rohini Nandana, the beloved son of Rohini. Baladev was also entrusted to Nanda Maharaj along with his mother Rohini when Vasudev embraced imprisonment by mutual agreement with King Kamsa. So Nanda Maharaj is also the foster father of Baladev along with Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev were constant companions from their very childhood, although they were stepbrothers. Baladev is the plenary manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore Baladev is as good and powerful as Lord Krishna himself. After all, Baladev belongs to the Vishnu Tattva, the principle of Godhead. Baladev attended the Swayamvara ceremony of Draupadi along with his brother Sri Krishna. And when sister Subhadra was kidnapped by Arjuna by the organized plan of Krishna, Baladev was very angry with Arjuna and wanted to kill him at once. But Sri Krishna, for the sake of his dear friend, fell at the feet of Lord Baladev and implored him not to be so angry. Baladeva was thus satisfied. Similarly, Baladeva was once very angry with the Kauravas, and he wanted to throw their whole city into the depths of the Yamuna. But the Kauravas satisfied Baladeva by surrendering unto his divine lotus feet. Baladeva was actually the seventh son of Devaki prior to the birth of Lord Krishna, but by the will of Lord Baladeva, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini to escape the wrath of Kamsa. Baladeva's other name is therefore Sankarsana, who is also the plenary portion of Sri Baladeva. And because Baladeva is as powerful as Lord Krishna and can bestow spiritual power to the devotees, he is therefore known as Baladeva. In the Vedas also it is enjoined that no one can know the Supreme Lord without being favored by Baladeva. Bala means spiritual strength, not physical strength. Some less intelligent persons interpret the word Bala as strength of the body. But no one can have spiritual realization simply by physical strength. For physical strength ends with the end of the physical body. But spiritual strength follows the spirit soul to one's next transmigration. And therefore the strength obtained by Baladeva is never wasted. That strength is eternal. And thus Baladeva is the original spiritual master of all devotees. Sri Baladeva was also a class friend of Lord Sri Krishna as a student of Sandipani Muni. In his childhood, Baladeva killed many asuras along with his brother Krishna, and specifically Balaram killed the Denaka asura at Talavan. But during the Kurukshetra battle, Baladeva remained neutral, and he tried his best not to bring about the fight. However, Baladeva was in favor of Duryodhana, but still Baladeva remained neutral. And when there was a club fight between Duryodhana and Bhimasena, Baladeva was present on the spot. But he was angry at Bhimasena when Bhimasena struck Duryodhana on the thigh or below the belt, and Baladeva wanted to retaliate the unfair action. Lord Sri Krishna saved Bhima from the wrath of Baladeva. But Baladeva left the place at once, being disgusted at Bhimasena. And after his departure, Duryodhana fell to the ground and met his death. The funeral ceremony of Abhimanyu, the son of Arjuna, was performed by Baladeva, as he was the maternal uncle. It was impossible for it to be performed by any one of the Pandavas, who were all too overwhelmed with grief. And at the last stage, after the Maushala Leela, or the disappearance of the Yadu dynasty, Baladeva departed from this world by producing a great white snake from his mouth, and thus Baladeva was carried by Sheshanaga in the shape of a serpent. I will now sing one of my favorite mantras, dedicated to all of you who have attended this broadcast. All glories to the devotees of ISKCON Boston. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hey. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hey. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rakshama. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Pahima. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripa sindhubhya eva cha, patitanang pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasadi Gaur, Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.